Can a relationship be formed with an Aquarius male and a Pisces female? Yes, these two are often very attracted to each other. However, once you get past the fantasy, it's really hard for those two to sustain a love relationship because the two of them don't have the skills needed to manage conflict effectively. Aquarius likes a relationship that is dreamy. The minute the relationship gets mundane, they lose interest because they only like a relationship that is built on fantasy. Even though they are a loyal zodiac sign, they want the feels when it comes to love. And when love is no longer serving the feels, they're not very committed to it. Pisces is also very dreamy in love. You know, Pisces likes their love to feel like, you know, Sunday morning on the beach. You know, Pisces doesn't like the ugly side of love. They don't like the work part of it. They don't like the doing stuff that you don't want to do part, you know. Pisces just wants love to be like easy all the time and simple. They want it to feel like it's heaven sent. They want love to feel like it's a fantasy. Thank you, Fabi, for liking the live and sharing it. So whenever love no longer feels like a fantasy, both Aquarius and Pisces generally get turned off because they feel cheated. They feel cheated. That's what it is. They feel like the love that God has promised them should feel magical. You know what I mean? There should be some magic to it. And whenever love no longer has that magic, you know, Pisces and Aquarius, they don't know how to handle it. They feel like there's got to be better out there. There's got to be better than this. Like, this can't possibly be all that there is, you know? These two are not built for, you know, love that is like too real. They like their love to be a little dreamy. I say a little, but I mean very dreamy. They like their love to feel like a fantasy. Like they're traveling out of this realm, out of the 3D into the 5D. Like they're basically like transporting themselves energetically, right? They're astral projecting themselves into another reality because of this love. So whenever, you know, you run into like situations that are difficult in the relationship, those two are not going to be able to effectively deal with them because there's no stability there. You know, there's a lot of idealism, you know, there's a lot of fantasy, but there's nothing concrete happening with these two when it comes to love. So while I see the attraction, I don't believe that that kind of love that they're seeking is sustainable. So generally those two are going to run their course and burn out. The other thing is Aquarius is an air sign and Pisces is a water sign. So one of the things that I encourage people to do when thinking about love connections is to try to like imagine what water and air create together. The first thing that comes to mind for me is bubbles. You know, like you blow beautiful bubbles in the air. They're beautiful, they're magical, you know. There's even an element of them that feels so nostalgic and dreamy. But as you can see, it doesn't take much to pop one. Once it goes pop, that's it. It does not come back, you know. Another imagery that I have is waves. Like when you think about waves of the sea, you know, the air pushes the water out. And the waves of the sea, it's like, again, it's not sustainable. It's chaotic. It's fast moving. It does what it wants. It doesn't have a lot of stability to it for long-term success. So that's why I do not recommend it. Great question. Okay, someone wants to know, how do I feel about female Scorpio and Taurus male? You should know that these two in astrology are sister signs. So what that means is that they're basically two sides of the same coin. So those two are going to be very similar, right? The way that they love, the way their loyalty, what they expect from love, the dedication, the effort, the work that they put in, they feel that they're on the same page about that. Like there's no confusion from either parties about how you're supposed to love. Basically, they love the same way. Their love is possessive. Their love is controlling. Their love is seeking stability and security. So, they need a love that is consistent, that offers that stability and consistency. They need a love that is predictable because they don't like a lot of nasty surprises. This is why they've vet people for a long time. So, as far as like how do we love and how do we maintain love, how we sustain love, how do we experience it? What do we need to do to make sure that it stays good and it stays real and it stays grounded? Those two are on the same page about that. The only issue I have with these two is that they are fixed. Both of them are fixed. Fixed signs are generally going to be set in their ways, meaning they're not open to change. They're not open to a lot of situations that require them to be flexible. Taurus is dead set on only experiencing things that provide physical comfort. So when Taurus is being invited into a situation that they do not feel comfortable in physically, they're not interested. They're not going. Taurus is not just going to anybody's party, anybody's house. Taurus does not invite just anybody in their house. Taurus is very particular about making sure that everything they do lends to them being physically comfortable. Well, Scorpio being Taurus's sister is similar, but Scorpio's obsession is with emotional safety. So while Taurus is like, I need to feel physically safe and physically comfortable, Scorpio says, I need to feel emotionally safe and emotionally comfortable. Which both of those things sound great, right? But the problem is there are going to be situations in relationships that do not lend to these signs feeling comfortable. There are going to be situations that require Taurus to be physically uncomfortable, and there are going to be situations that require Scorpio to be emotionally uncomfortable. When uninvolved, these two are going to be in their ego, where it's me, 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 me. Those two love that. They love me, me, my, mine, me, me, my, mine. That's like their middle name. Those two cannot imagine a life without me, me, my, mine. Very, very me-centered, very, very possessive, very much so selfish, very self-involved, very, very much so about controlling what they need to control so that they get what they want out of every situation that they're in, right? Me, me, my, mine. When you have two people like that in a relationship, nobody's bending. Nobody is giving in. Everybody wants to have their way. They're similar in that sense that they both want things their way, and that can be challenging in a partnership. And this is generally why I do not like fixed signs together. It doesn't mean that it can't work if other things are in place, because honestly, when it comes to love readings, I need usually a lot more data to be able to give you an accurate reading, because there's so many other things that impact love beyond just your sun sign. To be honest with you, your sun sign doesn't have much significance. The only significance your sun sign is going to have is your ego, because that's where your ego lives. It's in your sun sign. So when I'm dealing with somebody who has not done any type of healing work, someone who has poor self-awareness, poor self-assessment, poor self-control, poor, ability to self-reflect, and, poor sense of self, outside of others, poor insight into how their behavior affects other people. When I'm dealing with that type of personality, the ego becomes then very important, because the ego, which is a sun sign, tells me what type of behavior can I expect from that person whenever they're not getting their way. Whenever this person is unhappy, or whenever this person feels hurt or wounded, what type of behavior can I expect from them? And if they haven't done any healing work, I can expect some of the classical negative characteristics that come with that sun sign. So if Taurus and Scorpio haven't done any of their healing work and they get in relationship, whenever there's a problem in that relationship, instead of giving in to their partner to try to see where the other person is coming from and see how they can receive the information the other person is giving them so that they can work with the other person to make the situation better, that's not how they're going to approach it. Not at all. How they're going to approach it is, what is it that you're doing that is messing up my safety, my security, and my comfort? Okay? And whatever it is that you're doing that is messing up my safety and my security and my comfort in this relationship, that's what I need you to stop doing. Okay? As soon as you can stop doing that, the sooner I'm going to be happy. Because again, they don't think anything is wrong with them. They don't think they need to change anything. These two tend to have a grandiose sense of self. These two tend to have very narcissistic traits. These two tend to be very self-involved in terms of like my way or the highway. And they think their way is literally the only way. Like they cannot imagine how their way could possibly not lend to your happiness. Like, what's wrong with you that my vision isn't really, serving you? Like, why aren't you, what's your problem? As opposed to, what is it about me that I need to change so that I can become a better partner for you? So that I can be able to meet you halfway, so that I can, give an inch so that you can have more security. They're going to be more concerned about their security and their safety first and foremost. So that's why I don't like to see fixed signs together, because they're not very good givers, fixed signs. They're very good takers. They think the relationship is fundamentally there to serve them. So whenever the relationship is not serving them, they don't know what to do. They don't understand. They don't understand, like, why am I in this relationship that's not making me happy? Like, why am I in this relationship that is not fulfilling my needs? They don't understand that relationships require work, and it's not always about you and your needs, and sometimes you have to go without so the other person can be happy, and sometimes when you play your cards right, it circles back to you being happy. They don't have that concept of like self-sacrifice or like that concept of like granting and bearing it when they're experiencing discomfort. Like, those two do not like discomfort at all. Taurus does not like it when it's physical, and Scorpio has no tolerance for it when it's emotional. So for this reason, specifically, I prefer for fixed signs to be with cardinal signs, immutable signs, because those guys can teach these guys about how to take action. So I understand that you feel uncomfortable, which is what a cardinal sign would do, right? Cardinal sign being Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn, they would actually want to work on something, right? So cardinal signs will say, I understand that you feel discomfort. What can we do to move the needle closer to a place where we're both getting what we need, right? And immutable sign is mutable. If you make a great case for why it needs to go one way or the other, they will follow your lead. So I like fixed signs to be with mutable or cardinal signs, and I don't like them with each other. So assuming the rest of the chart is positive, that can make it work, because again, it's not about the sun sign, but at the ego, it's all about how much spiritual work, emotional work they've done. Because if they haven't done much of it, guess what? What you're going to get is me, mine, mine, me, mine, mine. What about me? But what about me? What about my needs? What about my wants? And that's the extent of it. Because if they're not happy, nobody's going to be happy. And that's how these two roll. So if you want to be in a relationship with them, you should know this about them. They don't have a very good ability to step outside of themselves and see things from other people's point of view and make room for that. Great question. But I at the same time, I do like it when sister signs date because I think they have the most to learn from each other. I don't think it's ideal in terms of like it being easy, but I think there's great potential for growth because they get to see how stubborn they really are. Because those two are going to be the same. Scorpio is just as stubborn as Taurus. And they get to see how difficult it is to live with somebody that is that inflexible. And somebody that is so self-centered and selfish in their approach to like what satisfaction should look like in a relationship. So, sometimes it's good to be with your sister sign because you get a taste of your own medicine. And then you go, oh, that's shitty. I shouldn't do that anymore. I shouldn't do that to the next person that I'm dating because I wouldn't like that done to me. I didn't like it when somebody did that to me. So I'm not going to do that anymore. So there's good that comes out of that struggle as well.
You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.